Hi guys, so today's video is kind of going to be an experiment on making color changing noodles, and it actually turned out really well. So in this video I'm going to show you a method for making noodles that can change color from a bluish color to a pinkish color over the course of a few minutes. Specifically after you add something acidic like lime juice or vinegar. It turns out this is extremely easy to make, and you can probably find both of the primary ingredients at your local grocery store. Lastly, to kind of give you context of what these noodles can be used for, I'll be showing you my take on Bun Bo Nam Bo, which is a delicious Vietnamese salad. Okay, so let's start making this. The key ingredient here is actually red cabbage. Now, red cabbage can be found in most grocery stores, and it should look like this. Now, these cabbages go well in a lot of recipes, but today we're going to focus on the cool properties of the pigment that's within the leaves and gives them their unique purple color. So speaking of which, why are they always called red cabbages if they're always purple? But anyways, the goal here is to get the pigment out of the cabbage leaves. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut up about a third of the cabbage into small pieces so that a blender can kind of finish the job. I put these leaves into a pot and filled it with about 2 liters or about half a gallon of water, but these amounts are kind of loose. I then added an immersion blender to blend up the cabbage pieces into a pulp, which released the purple pigment. Alternatively, if you don't have a blender, you can also boil the leaves to get the pigment out. So once everything's blended up, we can now strain the cabbage pulp from the liquid using a sieve, making sure to squeeze out as much of that pigmented liquid as possible. And what we'll be left with is this vibrant, bright purple liquid, which is exactly what we're going after. The cool thing about this liquid is that it actually reacts with a change in pH. So if you add an acid or a base, it will change color. So if you add, for example, a base, it will turn green. But if you add an acid such as lime juice or citric acid, it will turn to a pinky color, as you can see here. So now the next step is that we want to transfer this color changing property to our noodles. To do this, we're going to soak some rice noodles in this purple liquid. Now, any type of rice noodles work well because they're mostly neutral in color, so the purple cabbage liquid shows up on them really well. So as you can see, this bowl was a little bit too small, so I ended up putting it in a pot with a little bit more liquid. We're just going to let this soak for about 30 minutes, but we can let it soak up to 2 hours. So while our noodles are soaking, I use this spare time to get the rest of our noodle salad ready. So first off, we're going to need a dressing. And in the dressing, we need about 50 milliliters of lime juice, or about 2 limes. We need about 50 milliliters, or about 4 tablespoons of fish sauce. And I know this isn't looking super appetizing right now, but this dressing was actually really tasty. Then we need about 40 milliliters or 3 tablespoons of vinegar, preferably rice vinegar if you have it, and about 4 cloves of garlic minced, and about a 2-inch piece of ginger minced, as well as some Thai chilies if you really want. Now after the dressing, we need some meat for our salad. I'm choosing to use beef here, and for that, we need a marinade. And for this, we need a middle part of 1 stalk of lemongrass, 4 minced garlic cloves, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. We need to cut our beef into strips. I'm using a skirt steak here, but other types of beef can also work well. Now just mix this all well together and set it off to the side. After getting the meat ready, we're gonna also need to get some vegetables ready. So here I'm gonna use some strips of a carrot, some chopped lettuce, and some aromatic herbs. And for that, we can use basil, perejillo, coriander, but I had some mint on hand, so I'm gonna use that. So let's get back to our noodles. After about 30 minutes, the noodles have soaked up that bright purple color, and this is exactly what we should see here. It looks beautiful. So the next thing we need to do is actually cook these noodles. To do this, you're just gonna cook it just like you would any other rice noodles. Bring a pot up to boiling and just kind of pull the rice noodles out of the soaking liquid and just let the excess liquid drain from it. Once the water's up to boiling, just toss our noodles in, and we're just gonna let this cook for about 5 minutes until they become flexible and chewy. In the meantime, we can also fry up our beef. And I decided last minute to add an onion, but that's completely up to you. To fry up the beef, all you need to do is heat up a pan as hot as you can get with some neutral high smoke point oil, and then just add the beef in. Fry it for 2 minutes and it's done. So going back to the noodles, after they're cooked, which I said was about 5 minutes, we can just dunk them in some ice cold water to cool them down as quickly as possible. You can also feel free to run this under a cold tap of tap water. And the goal is really just to bring them down to a cool temperature as quickly as possible, at which point you should be able to grab them with your hands once the temperature has been brought low enough. But one thing you may have noticed is that our noodles have kind of changed from a deep purple to a slightly less vibrant blue, but that's completely normal and everything's fine. All right, so now that our noodles and beef are done, it's time to finish the salad. All we need to do is put some lettuce down at the bottom of a bowl, add some noodles on top. We can add our carrot, mint, then we can top with beef, some peanuts, and some fried onions if you have them. And lastly, we can go ahead and add the dressing. Now the acid from the lime juice and vinegar will react with the noodles, changing the color over the course of about 5 minutes. So it's best to just wait right before you're about to serve this and then pour this on top. And what this will do is this will change colors as you're eating it, from this really muted blue color to this bright pink color. And I think it's pretty cool, especially if you're serving this for other people and you really want to impress them. Now the science behind it's really cool, and maybe in another video I can get into this, but that's basically it for now. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like this, please consider subscribing. It really helps me. I'm really happy how this turned out, and the color changing worked surprisingly well. And also surprisingly, it doesn't have any flavor. It doesn't add any flavor to it. So you don't have to worry about a funky taste being added to your noodles. All right, so I guess I'll see you guys 2 weeks from now. Thanks for watching. Bye.